Hi guys, welcome back to Irish Footy Vlogs. Welcome back to the final Premier Division preview show of the season. Unfortunately, guys, JP and Luke, there's nothing actually to play for, which is probably a bit disappointing because we felt that the European race, maybe the relegation race, and even potentially the title race may go down to the last day of the season. But unfortunately, none of these matches mean anything in that regard. That said, it's a send-off for a lot of teams, particularly the home sides, and we'll start off at Daleyman Park where Bohemians take on Sligo, and Bohemians still could potentially finish 7th in the league, so they'll be looking to get something out of this game. Declan Devine himself hasn't won yet as manager of Bohemians either, so that's something he'd like to do, I'm sure, in the last home game of the season. JP, how do you see this one from a Bowls perspective?
Where do you start really with Bowls this season? Very underwhelming season. We expected them to do a lot better. I know they lost a couple of players mid-season, but up until that, they weren't doing as well as we expected them to do.
20 points behind third, which is the guaranteed European place.
Yeah, considering that they just missed out in the 4th place last year, it's very, very disappointing. For Decky, he'll want to sign off the season with a win. He's his first one in the last home game. So I know there's nothing riding on it in terms of the outcome of what you can have in a season, but I think for this, I think that what's riding on it is Bows will want to finish the season strong for their manager. He'll want to finish strong, get his first home one, get his first one completely, sorry, and take it from there and go into the off season, and I'm sure by this stage he knows what he needs or knows what he wants. And for both teams really, it's been very underwhelming season. Sligo done well in Europe out of the cup early. Once I think Sligo went out of the cup, I thought that was or out of the cup and out of Europe in the space of a few weeks. I think that was their season finished.
Yeah.
And it officially finishes now on Sunday, and they'll be disappointed that they're so they're only 9 points off Pats in 4th. So they'd be disappointed that they maybe didn't perform a wee bit better.
Yeah, Luke, I mean, the one interesting point about Bows, I was actually thinking about this myself a few weeks ago, but watching the under-19 final, the end of the Guild Cup final, Jamie Mullins, I thought, was superb in that game. Scored a brilliant goal, but stood out like a sore thumb in that match. And he has been in and out of the Bows team. He's had featured last season as well in a better Bows team. You got to ask the question, though, particularly with the struggles in midfield, why he hasn't got more game time this season, I think.
Yeah, I'd agree with there. I think we were saying the other day, like, look, to be honest with you, I'm sure Devine was at the game, the Pats and the under-19s game. I'm sure he was there. I'm sure he's seeing the performance that Jamie Mullins put in, and also the goal, and he's capable of doing that. Like, Keith Long was obviously a huge fan of him. Had him in quite a lot. You know what I mean? He was the one who brought him through. He gave him his first team debut. He's seeing his first team goal, first ever first team goal. So, he's seeing the up and coming of Jamie Mullins, and I think the Bowls fans were seeing it. He was in and out sort of this season, didn't really play an awful lot. Didn't really see enough of him. But he's still a player who's got real quality, and we do know that there was obviously interest from abroad as well from him. Only this time last year, so at the same time, you know what I mean. Like, it's he's still a really good player with some serious potential. Like, so if Bowes can get him in, like, obviously, look, I can't see him moving away now this year because he didn't really play an awful lot for Bowes this year, so it would be tough for him maybe to get a move. But saying that, you don't know, but I expect him to be in Devine's plans for next season. He's a player who's, with first team games, he's only going to improve, and that's exactly what he needs. He needs to be in that first team environment, playing week in, week out to really, get the rewards. And he is a serious player with serious potential, and he's probably better than some of what's probably starting ahead of him at the minute. So, he's a player with serious potential, and he can only improve.
JP, do you think, though, ultimately with Sligo, that John Russell essentially gets a free pass this season, and that next season's the season to properly judge him now, I think?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was May, wasn't it? He took over, and
Fair enough,
at
yeah.
that stage,
Very early
at,
anyway, very early, yeah.
at that stage, I know it's mad to say, but at that stage, you're nearly halfway through the season anyway.
Mm.
Because they congest the fixtures and the start, they sort of prevent it happening at the end. But um, then he's brought in a couple of players in the summer, which I think was just to maybe bulk up the squad a wee bit.
Mm.
I
I
know
suppose
he's got,
Livac has been a good addition, I think, for them, to be fair. I think he's been
yeah, he
decent.
has.
Yeah.
I think it's a free pass for him.
Mm.
Like he done well in Europe. Got the Although they fell over the line against the Wales team, they done magnificently well against Motherwell. Um, so they'll be looking. They use that result as not a stepping stone or a springboard, but they'll be looking to use that result as a they set their standard really. Look, we can play at this standard every week. This is what can we achieve, and he'll be going into this season now, or into this game now. Delighted they finished fifth probably, and build on that and see if they can get a couple of quality players in over the summer. Keep Aidan Keena, which I think is massive for him, and just build around it and see what they can do. But yeah, I think he gets a free hit.
Yeah. Luke, what score are you going for in this game? Bohemians and Sligo Rovers.
I'm gonna go 1-1.
JP?
Yeah, 1-1.
There you go, full house, 1-1. I actually have it written down as well. So I'm not copying this. Derry City take on Dundalk at the Brandywell, and I suppose you could say there is something riding in this game, because technically Dundalk could actually finish out of Derry, but they have to win by 3 clear goals to do so. Personally, I think that's unlikely. You'd never know. But Derry City, obviously, have the cup final coming up. They'd like to sign off with a win in front of their home crowd, I think, as well. Dundalk, I still think he'd be very happy with finishing third. I'm not sure how really motivated they'll be to go out and try and beat Derry by 3 goals. I mean, it's hard enough to do. Let's be honest about it. Anyway, it's not as if they have to turn up and go and beat Derry 3-0, no problem. But I'm sure they'd like to get a win. But JP, yeah, I mean, look, let's be honest. I'm sure your head and Derry's heads are turning to the cup final, and you could feel like you could nearly do it without this game. But at the same time, it's an opportunity for Derry fans to, I suppose, roar on their team before they make it to the Aviva, really.
Yeah, send them off to Viva with a bit of like we've had that support all year, like, and they'll know. But it'd be nice to send them off to Viva with a good attendance and stuff like that. And um, as I say, there's a wee bit riding on it. Although Derry have to lost by 3 clear goals, and I don't think we've lost by any more than one this season. Maybe need to check that out, but I'm nearly sure that is the case. But look, there's always a first time for everything, but I think we've been very underwhelming the last 3 performances, I feel, and no doubt the players will want to go into the cup final with a really good performance under their belts. As I say, I think this is just getting in the way of the cup final. Really, I think everybody is in cup final mode now for us all. We just can't wait now the 13th of November, and we get back in the Aviva after 8 years of not being there. Like so, um, I think it'll not be this game. I don't think will be a great game, to be honest. I just think it'll be 2 teams will be looking to just finish off the season. To be honest with you,
Do you expect a strong lineup from Derry, though?
strongish. I think
Yeah.
strongish. Because at the same time, Rory will not want to go in the cup final.
Do you play Duffy and McElhenney?
I don't know. Don't know. Maybe not. Maybe not, because you don't want them getting injured a week before the cup final. So maybe not.
You feel like with McElhenney, you'd be tempting fate a little bit, wouldn't you? Like a little bit.
Yeah, even though he started the last,
Mm.
whatever, I think he's missed the
Yeah.
fun Harps. He didn't start the Harps game, but other than that, I think he started nearly every game since the middle of June, which is fantastic for him.
Yeah.
But I think he came off the bench against Sligo too, I think, as well. So, and I think at that stage, the league was kind of done and whatever. But I don't know. I don't think he start with them too. at the same time, you don't want to be going in the cup final on the back of it at defeat as well. And as the same as we've said there, Higgins will want his team to give him a good performance, but at the same time, he'll be looking to manage their game time as well, because like any kind of injury at all could put anybody out of the cup final, and he'll want a full squad to pick from.
Dundalk, obviously, Luke, have had a very good season, to be fair. They have finished in 63 points. They have qualified for Europe. In fairness, as far as they're concerned and as far as Stephen O'Donnell is concerned, it's a job well done, ultimately, isn't it? They've nothing to lose in this game either.
No, it isn't. And I would not be surprised if they go for it. Like, do you know what I mean? Because, again, like they've nothing to lose. Derry have got a cup final next weekend to look forward to, which is obviously brilliant. And, you know, as I think JP said there, you know, I'm sure a lot of them are in cup final mode. So Dundalk will sort of look at that and say, what we can get at this. And, you know, if you get an early goal, then you never really know. But I don't think Derry will want to be going into the cup final off, you know, losing by 3 goals either. So I don't know what way it is, what way either team approach it. It'll be a really interesting one. But look, it's again, it's a nothing game. Like, so at the same time, you know, I think Derry will just want to, you know, finish the 90 minutes without any injuries and without anything to worry about for next week, and then they can obviously go in next week and train and that before the big cup final. So it's a really interesting one. I don't know what way either team approaches this one, but Dundalk look great season for them. European football back at Oriel Park, even though even though it won't be played at Oriel Park, but you know, European football back in Dundalk, like, so it's a good achievement for them. I think they've probably achieved more than we thought they would, just off the basis that it was going to be a rebuild for Stevie. But, you know, to get Europe in his first season there is only going to carry them on further. It's going to bring more money into the club now. Obviously, you know, more funds and that, which will help them in that. And, you know, European money is obviously, it's quite valuable. So they'll be looking forward to that now. And, you know, a big task again ahead for Stephen O'Donnell with recruitment, who he brings in, who he sort of lets go. Which if he does do that, we'll see. But yeah, look, it's a big couple of weeks for Dundalk. So yeah, look, it's a good season for them, and they'll enjoy Friday night, you know.
Prediction, Luke?
I'm gonna go 2-1 Dundalk.
JP?
1-0.
I'm going different this time. 1-0 Derry City. Drogheda United take on Finn Harps ahead of Game Park last day of the season. I'm sure the Drogheda fans will be letting Finn Harps know what division they're in next season. But it's an interesting game in terms of it'll be interesting to see how many Finn Harps fans actually turn up. And honestly, fair play to any Finn Harps fan who actually travels to Drogheda in the last day of the season. Hopefully they can give their team a send off and potentially give Ollie Horgan a send off as well. JP, I think.
Yeah, I think it's the least they deserve. I know he hasn't been a great season for them, far from it. Probably understatement this season there, but I think you take this season in isolation, you take that away, and you look at what he's done in the other 7 or 8 seasons. I think he's been there. He's done an absolutely fantastic job. He's put Finn Harps back on the map in Irish football, because before he came, they were in the doldrums, and I think they were relegated in 2008. And they didn't play another game in the Premier Division until 2016, and that for Finn Harps that was a long time. And what he done was he came in, he got belief back in the club again. He started from the bottom up, built the club up, got them promoted, kept them up, and then we know they went down, but it was because it was a 3-team relegation that they went down, and he brought them straight back up, and he's kept them here. They've had four years in the Premier Division, and for me, that's a long time for Finn Harps being in the Premier Division, because I never ever remember them even having 1 or 2 seasons. I always remember Harps being
Also managed to bring them to an FAI Cup semi-final whilst they were in the first division as well.
Yeah, that was his first season in charge as well.
That's right, you're right. That was his first season, yeah.
So I think you take this season in isolation, he's done an absolutely fantastic job. Just the recruitment wasn't there this year. But you had to feel sorry for him, because he lost Alexis Sean Boyd, Tunde. He lost
Coyle,
Mark Coyle as well.
Adiki.
Yeah, him. And then in mid-season, he's lost Webster, his best centre half, for the rest of the season because of a knee injury. He'd probably built his defence around having Webster. So he just everything seemed to spiral against him from the end of last season to the start to the end of this season, and unfortunately, he wanted to go. As far as I'm aware, he wanted it to go last year and go out in the high, having
He's
achieved.
even pretty much said that in an interview. I kind of knew that myself, but he's essentially said that in an interview as well.
Yeah, go out in the high with probably what was their highest points tally in how many years in the Premier Division, they weren't even. I know there was a couple of games to go. There was a chance they could have dropped in the playoffs, but you never felt they were in danger of even getting into the playoffs, and that's unheard of, for Van Harps, and he's just done a fantastic job up until this season, and I just think he deserves a good send off. If he is going, I imagine he will go, and I know there's Harps fans that probably be glad to see the back of him, but I think when he goes, they'll look back and they'll realize
I think it's okay, actually, JP, to kind of want a manager to go and realize maybe it is the end, but respect what that manager's done for the club. You don't have to go and berate the manager necessarily because he has done great things for Harps. And unfortunately, most managers that end up leaving clubs, it's usually not because the ending was good.
Yeah, and I think there is people that will show him the respect and stuff like that there, and then you've got the people who are berating him, and they're isolating this season, and they're not looking at it as a whole. And look, they probably are back to square one where they were 9 years ago when they took over. They probably are back here. They probably need built up again. But look, I think difficult season for them. We know that. But yeah, I think go to Drogheda, support the team, and give Ollie the applause that he obviously deserves. And you go into next season, move on with a new manager, new team, and start afresh.
Luke, I suppose where Drogheda at the moment, obviously they were well beaten by Shelburne the last day, and they came under, well, I would say in many quarters was stinging criticism. And I know Kevin Doherty's done an interview and he's basically said, look, I understand, and it was a bad day and all that kind of thing. And as I said, they did have a lot of injuries before and that kind of thing, and a lot of injuries in that game. And he said one or two players had played with an injury, but it shouldn't it shouldn't cover what they've done over the whole season, which I agree with, by the way, as well. But it would be nice for Drogheda, from their point of view, in front of their home fans, just to put on one last performance and get a win and sign off, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. But like, I've seen a lot of criticism that Kevin was coming under last week, which is just beyond me, like absolutely beyond me. Calling for him to be sacked,
Really?
Seriously, yeah, I've seen people, I've seen things on.
Sorry,
Things
I didn't even hear that, so it shook me there.
No, I've seen things on social media that
Sacked.
people have been calling for him. You know what I mean? Like, which is just
My days.
football fans. The football fans are like that, though. You know what I mean? Like, I think we're used to that sort of thing. But it's
give a bad name for other football fans, though.
Yeah, but like, it's just the fact is, like, he's done an unbelievable job, right? Unbelievable job. Smallest budget in the league. You know what I mean? Like, and it's a truth, like, do you know what I mean? And to finish, what was it, 15, 16 points clear with 4 games to go. At that point,
they're 15 clear of Finn Harps, and Finn Harps have a bigger budget this season. So
yeah, so look, he's worked wonders. You know what I mean? You look at the start of the season, everyone was tipping Drogheda to go down. You know, back 5 of 6 gone. Getting your whole squad sort of ripped apart. Only really 2 or 3 that stayed from last season. You know what I mean? So look, it was always going to be tough, but he's done an unbelievable job. To stay up with 4 games to go, 15 points clear of the bottom 2 was brilliant. At that point. So yeah, look, I think last week was a bad night, but it wasn't a bad. It doesn't define the season. I think we had a great season. I'm very happy with the season. I would have taken 8 at the start of the season, so I have no like concerns about that. It was a brilliant season. So it'd be great, like, you know what I mean, to put on one last show in front of the home fans. It'd be brilliant because, you know, they've turned out in their numbers every week, and, you know, they've gotten behind the team in important times. You know, got them some really important points. Obviously, the team got some important points, but the fans were a big help. And yeah, look, I think the fans deserve one last show. So look, hopefully they do it. And Gary Deegan can be back in the squad. And I think, to be honest, people do also give Deegan criticism, but I have to say, Deegan is, without him in our midfield, I feel like, you know, we were definitely,
Lacking organisation.
Lacking organisation. Yeah, exactly. That's the word. You know, he's a real leader in there. He's a very, very important player for Drogheda. And you know, I still think he could go again next season. So I hope he does. But he's a brilliant, brilliant player, and he's so important for us. And it'd be great to get him back in now for this game and put a bit more organisation into the team. Look, obviously Harps have gone down, but they won't want to finish. They'll want to finish with a good result. So, you know, I'm expecting both teams wanting to get a result. So, yeah, it should be an interesting game anyways.
Prediction, Luke?
I'll go 2-0 Drogheda.
JP?
Yeah, I was thinking the same, 2-0 Drogheda.
2-1 Drogheda. St. Patrick's Day take on Shelburne at Richmond Park in the final game of the season, obviously at Richmond Park as well. And it's a pity from a Saints point of view that they haven't an opportunity to qualify for Europe. Obviously, they do have an opportunity to qualify for Europe, JP, but we'll wait for Derry to do their job, maybe. But Shelburne, from their point of view, obviously they're in the same situation in many ways as Derry City. They're looking ahead to the cup final. From their point of view, that was a very good performance at the same time against Drogheda. You know what I mean? It was a bit of both on the night. But yeah, I mean, going to Richmond Park, usually this is a massive match. It's near enough a sellout, which is strange, actually, believe it or not, as well. But Shelburne do have an opportunity, actually, to finish ahead of Bohemians if they can get a win at Richmond Park. But you do have to wonder, where's the real motive? I know Damien Duff will like to say, you know, we need to be going into the games and winning these games. But again, anyone with a knock or anyone with, you know, a bit of fitness doubts won't play in the game. Matty Smith will play in the game. Matty Smith is a player that seems... I know, yeah. I had a feeling. But Matty Smith's the type of players we've seen already this season, and with Waterford actually as well, and that kind of thing, that he tends to score and do well against teams he played against before. Sorry, with Pats he did well against Waterford, rather, I should say. But this season he's done well. He scored a couple of goals against Pats for Shelbourne and Derry. So, yeah, obviously he'd be up for this one as well. But a game from Pat's point of view where I suppose they'd like to sign off with a home win as well, but a little bit disappointing that they can't actually, you know, get a result to help them get into Europe really in the end.
Yeah, it's just the way it's been for them, really. They haven't picked up enough of points against the three teams above them, I think. Plenty of points against the others, and ultimately that's probably what's cost them a chance of having Europe riding on this game. For Shelburne, I think there's no motivation. They finishing above. There probably is a wee slight,
because it's not even a scenario where they can stop Pats getting into Europe in this regard.
No, there's not. I think if there was the opportunity of stopping Pats getting into Europe and finishing above Bulls, there's probably a wee bit of motivation. But at the end of the day, their motivation of stopping Pats getting into Europe comes next Sunday in the Aviva Stadium. That's their motivation. Obviously Shelburne fans and whatever would love to get the result. They put them above Bulls, but I think if you say to them, you won the cup or you finish above Bulls, I know what they're going to take every day of the week. So I think Duff will probably make a raft, maybe not a raft of changes, because they'll want to keep the momentum going. Under the cup final, having picked up a fantastic one last week, it was their first one since July, so they probably really needed that. Now they've got that. The pressure's probably off a wee bit in this game, so they don't really need to go win or whatever. They just need to maybe put on a good performance on the back of last week, send them in the cup final with full confidence.
Yeah, Luke, last time I met it was 4-4. This is going to be 0-0, isn't it?
No, I don't think so. I don't. Look, it's again a nothing game really. Pats obviously are going to be watching next Sunday's game against with Derry and Shamrock Rovers, Derry and Shelburne, with serious optimism that Derry will win the cup. And serious hope that they'll win the cup, because if they do, obviously then Pat will be in Europe, and I'm sure you'd be a happy man, Keith. But look, it's a nothing game. Pat, I'll be interested to see what way Duff is going to set up Shels. I think he'll want to, hope that he doesn't end the game with any injury, so he might go a bit conservative and sort of.
I think the players will be conservative is the point, really, isn't it?
Yeah, they will.
Yeah.
Of course they will. Like
any 50-50 challenges, you're pulling out. There's no doubt about that.
They'll be thinking about every challenge. You know what I mean? They'll be thinking about everything. I'm sure this week they're even in training talking about it, thinking about it as well.
Each other in training.
No, but I'm sure they're like, it's natural for if you're a player and you've got such a big game the next week, like. You're thinking, I don't want to get injured, like, you know what I mean? And you're like,
I'll give an example. I don't know if JP seen this when Shamrock Rovers played Derry the other week. Did you see Brian Maher pulling out of a challenge with Richie Tell? If that's you're giving out to him in normal circumstances, but there with a cup coming along, you're going, no, pull out. If he scores, he scores.
Yeah.
But I think he was afraid to give away a penalty as well.
There was a bit of both, I think, wasn't there? Yeah.
Oh, but it would play in your mind, like it would,
absolutely,
it does. You know what I mean? So look, it's a big thing. So they'll want to obviously not have any injuries, and then they can look forward to their big day out next week. It's a brilliant achievement for Shelbourne Football Club. They've done a really good job this year. Duff has done an absolutely exceptional job. Staying up and getting into a cup final. If he wins the cup, surely he has to be up for Manager of the Year. Surely he does, because he's done a good job. Like, you know what I mean? So. You look, if I think if it was any other manager in any other case, in any other person, I think they would be getting the good recognition, and I don't really see Duff getting an awful lot of recognition, only from Shels fans who seem to absolutely adore him. Like, but so yeah, look, he's done a great job. So if he can finish the job next week and get a cup, then that'd be a brilliant achievement. But they've obviously got to get this game out of the way. But I can only see a Pat win, to be honest with you.
Score
2-0.
JP.
2-1 Pats.
0-0. UCD take on Shamrock Rovers at the UCD Bowl last game of the season. Obviously, Shamrock Rovers had their party, and they're playing. As we're doing this video, this video will be out on Friday. So if you're watching this out on Friday, so we're doing this before Rovers play in Europe. So we won't comment too much on that, guys, to be fair. But the UCD game, obviously, from UCD's point of view, they'll be resting players, I'd imagine, for the game against Shamrock Rovers, because they're going to have a massive game against Galway or Waterford next Friday, which I assume is going to be in Richmond Park. But, from UCD's point of view, I think they do have to rest players in this game, JP, don't they?
Yeah, it's very similar to Derry and Shelburne. This game's just getting in the way of a bigger game the following week. And UCD done well, in my opinion. They get a playoff spot last year when they won the playoffs. I thought that the way Harps had performed last season and Drogheda and whatever, I thought UCD would have been cut well adrift. But
there was a point of the season, JP, wasn't there, where you felt UCD they're finishing bottom type thing? Yeah,
probably around May-ish.
I think Finn Harps a couple of wins actually against Shelbourne, and you kind of thought, And
UCD were playing well, but not getting the points that maybe their performances deserved. And you're thinking Harps at one point was going to kick on and pick up points, and they didn't. But I think you have to give UCD absolute credit. They've taken 10 points off Harps this year, which ultimately is the reason why they're in the position that they're in. And for me, I kind of wrote them off last year when they got promoted. I thought that they would go
we
straight
all did,
back.
JP, to be fair.
Yeah. Didn't think they would even be. I thought they'd be cut as drift as far as what Longford were last year, but they weren't. Or not long. I was Longford last year. Was Cork the year before. So look, absolutely fantastic. I think I said it maybe last week. I know I said it off air as well. The fact that he's even guided them to a playoff spot, I think Andy Myler should be in the running for the manager of the season. To be honest with you, if it keeps him up. If he keeps him up, then he should get Manager of the Year. Maybe going a wee bit far because of what Bradley has done at Rovers on the etc. and stuff like that. But if he manages to keep UCD up through the playoffs, it'll be how does he top it? How does he top it? Like, it's fantastic achievement to get to the playoffs, and I would say they'll be bringing in their Ulster Senior League team. Majority of them, they played this game, to be honest with you. And Rovers, it's the end of their season. They've had a fantastic season. They've had their party, as you say.
They would have been after playing on
Yeah.
Thursday against your Gardens as well. So you
Yeah.
can imagine they'll give some of the younger players a go as well. Like, you know.
Yeah, give the guys who done the business throughout the season, let them put their feet up early and prepare for next season.
Yeah, Luke, where do you see it? Obviously, from Shamrock Rovers' point of view as well. Obviously, champions.
Leinster Senior League, sorry, Keith.
Leinster Senior League, yeah. I was wondering, all right. Leinster Senior League, of course, yeah. Not Ulster, UCD, or University College Dublin, as we all know. So that's just a slip of the tongue, guys. So don't be killing us in the comments. Luke, Shamrock Rovers' point of view, yeah. It's just party time still. They're going to be partying tonight. They're going to be partying still on Sunday.
Yeah, I think they're going to be partying for a while, to be honest. I think we've seen they've already broken the trophy as well.
Easily broken, apparently. Apparently, that trophy is very easy to break, apparently. So maybe they need to do something about that. They need a new one. I don't know.
Look, it's a brilliant thing. You know what I mean? They had their party and last weekend. It was just such a brilliant night for Shamrock Rovers Football Club. You know, so many memories there for their fans that they'll cherish, and it's just a brilliant thing. Like they've done really well, and now they're going into this last game and not under any pressure from Derry City or anything. So they can just sort of look at a few younger lads, give other lads run-outs that might not have got as much time this season as they probably would have liked, and who might be moving on at the end of the season. So I'm interested to see what way Shamrock Rovers is going to go for next year. Recruitment wise, obviously, look, they lose Andy Lyons, and it's worth noting that it's his last game for Shamrock Rovers. What a year he's had, what a season he's had. So
9 goals and 9 assists from wing back, by the way.
Yeah, it's going to be a loss, though. I think that's going to be a loss.
Player of the year.
Do you know what I mean? Who do you replace him with? Who do you replace him with? Look, I'm really interested to see what way their recruitment's going to go. I think if they'll go in for a striker, what way Alan Manis is going to be. It is an interesting year. A couple of weeks ahead for Shamrock Rovers, because obviously Derry are coming right behind them now at this point, and that they're looking at recruitment already, I'd say, and they have a cup final, and that once the cup final's finished, you'll see that with their recruitment what way they'll go, and they're going to be building ahead for next year. We've obviously seen a few names maybe that have been thrown around for Derry City and for Shamrock Rovers, so we'll see. But look, great year for Shamrock Rovers. Last game of the season, they'll just want to finish it out, and look, they can obviously continue partying, but they've got to look ahead then to next season, because I think next year is going to be an even tougher year for them.
Prediction?
Joe, what, I'll go 3-0 Rovers.
JP?
3-0 Rovers.
Do you know what? I'll go 6-all. Why not? I'm going to the bookies now, all right? Right, guys, we'll leave it there. Brilliant. Thanks for coming on. Guys at home, thanks for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments. Will it be 6-all between UCD and Shamrock Rovers? Subscribe to the channel, hit your bell notification button and all that crack. Thanks very much, guys. Brilliant.
Cheers.